welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am trying something completely different in today's video, something I've never tried before, and this is to use the PBO Relief outline. I think it's paint, don't quote me on it, I'm not sure. This is fully inspired by Leah Dia Designs. Most of you will have heard of her. Incredible work that she does with this product. It's basically a relief outline. You pipe it onto your resin and it leaves an outline that is a relief, so you can then fill it in with all of your colors, and it's basically like one big giant coloring in picture. I make it sound a lot easier than it was. Let's get into it. I'm using these silicone molds from Let's Resin. They are the white plastic, the white silicone, so like you can kind of see through it, and I need to be able to trace because your girl can't draw leaves. She can't draw leaves. I've got this absolutely gorgeous silk screen. This is one of the silk screens that I got from Amazon for my eco pores, but it is so beautiful. I thought, I wonder if I can trace this through the silicone mold, and we can, which is so exciting. So I won't be using the silk screen, I won't be peeling it back, I literally just need to trace it, which is why you need this kind of silicone. I think Leah Dia Designs kind of creates her resin layer and then takes it out of the mold and then uses it as a blank canvas, whereas I'm going to be creating coasters with these, so I just need this nice clear layer of resin down first. This is 24 hours later, it's fully cured, and it is time to trace. Now, how you do this is entirely up to you. What you trace on, you could print an image off of Google, you could go online, type in what it is you want to trace, print it off, and then trace it directly through your resin. The possibilities are literally limitless and endless with this one. I have two of the PBO outline reliefs. I've got black and clear, but I figured as this is my first time ever trying it, I'm going to use the black just because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see the clear at all. Now, I bought these myself from an art shop down in Stratford, East London. We went to Westfields. I met up with Wendy actually, Wendy from Toonpish Crafts, and Miz. Most of you will know Miz from my live chats, and she's also a patron. She flew over from Sweden for a holiday, and we all met up for lunch months ago, and there was an art shop and we kind of all went crazy, so that is where I got these from, but I'm pretty sure you can find them on Amazon. And at this point I was loving it. There is such a thin, skinny little tip on these tubes, and it was kind of making it, in my head I thought that's going to be easier to get a nice fine outline for my pieces. That was the first 10 seconds, okay? The first 10 seconds, I got ahead of myself. I immediately loved it. And then within about a minute, my hand started hurting. My hand started hurting. I had a tissue on hand to wipe off the excess because I was definitely getting a lot of blobs. It was my first ever try. I was getting loads of splodges, loads of these dollops. I didn't really want that. The spout of the tube, I didn't want it to keep clogging, so I was continuously wiping it with the tissue. So yeah, my initial first thoughts were, okay, this is really cool. I'm going to have so much fun with this. Within 5 minutes, my hand, I honestly felt like I needed physio. My brain was saying, well now, Leah dear, don't you make this look a lot easier than it is. That's all I could think of. I sent a photo to my patrons. I was like, well, Leah dear makes this look a lot easier than it actually was. I am in agony. My hands ache. My thumb was aching. So part of me was really, really happy. I was trying it for the first time, and part of me was like, this is so hard. This is so hard. Way harder than I ever imagined it would be. Obviously I was just naive and thinking tracing an outline would be quite simple, but no. Why is it when you need to be neat, your hands go and your hands start shaking and you just can't get a straight line for love nor money? Equally, I was having too much fun to really care about the outcome at this point. And I also think it's possible, I don't know for sure though, so if anyone knows, and if Leah Dia's watching, if anyone knows, you can cut the tube down. So instead of having the smallest possible little skinny spout, you can probably trim some of that tube off so that your PBO paint comes out much thicker in much thicker lines. And I guess that would be a lot less stress on the hand because, yeah, your girl had to stop and like every 5 seconds had to stop and shake my hand and stretch my hand. This is real time. So the clip you're seeing right now is real time. Let's just all fall asleep together while we watch this. The reality was so much slower. I have sped this video up for you just because it took me so long. So this was actually the second outline. So I know Leah Dia does lay it on quite thick to give you quite a big fat juicy border. And I wanted that too because I'm putting resin in these and I definitely don't want that resin seeping out. So I knew I would have to do exactly what Leah Dia does. And you can see me here. I'm like, my hand was about to literally hit me. Yeah, I went in with a second piped outline just to give me a much juicier wall to hold my resin in place. Having said all of this, it was fun. It was like, you know, when you just like go to the gym and you haven't been to the gym in ages and then you go really, really hard and you run miles on the treadmill. Like, yeah, me neither. I don't know that feeling, but it's kind of like that. Like my hand was not used to this pressure that was needed to squeeze this tube so intensely. But don't let that put you off. Don't let anything I say in today's video put you off because genuinely I loved this. I genuinely loved it. I cannot wait to do more. I think I'm going to go random. I would love to do some abstract, like really random designs, not trace anything, just go with the flow. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you've tried this and how you get on with it. Do you cut the tube down? Or are my hands just broken? Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, it really was fun. It was at this point I did give up. My hand, my thumb was just in bits. I couldn't do any more. So I just went around this final leaf with the second outline. And then I came back to it the next morning when I'd gotten over the pain. This was the next morning. It only takes, I think, about an hour to dry this paint. But this was the next day. I'd finished off my second outline and I can't even pretend they're neat, guys. They're about as unneat as I could have possibly wanted them to be. I tried and it's okay that they're like this because it was my first ever attempt. The colours I'm using are tropical. I really wanted to go down this sunshine tropical oasis vibe, even though they are, you know, they're normal house plants like your monstera, but still I wanted to go with the tropical colors. Now I am using mica powders from Estoyo. You would have seen recently they sent me their entire range of mica powders. There was no real strong green in the set. They had these greens, like this one's called Flash Green. It looks very blue. All of the greens look very blue on camera, but they did have the lime, the bright lime green, which screams tropical. And again, I have sped this section up. And originally I was going to use pipettes, but I just thought it would be easier to use sticks. So I'm using some lollipop sticks here, just allowing the resin to gather at the bottom of the stick before letting like one drop at a time drop into my areas because I didn't want any overflow. So the reason I've sped it up again is because this was slow. This was so slow going. Equally, I wanted to be intentional with where I was putting my colours. I was thinking of the Monstera leaf, you know, the mottled one that's got a variegated leaf. That's where I was going with this. And then I would use like a cocktail stick to just move the resin out and make sure that each and every one of those outlined shapes were fully filled in. Equally, if any went out over the edges, I would grab my cotton bud faster than I eat cake and I would wipe that up, because again, I didn't want that to be seen in the final piece. all of that effort and we still got some, but it's all good, it's all good. Yeah, this was the fun part for me. This was the fun part for me, seeing it come together, seeing all of the color combinations that I was putting in there and seeing the way they were kind of like mixing together and just imagining what the end result would be. The piping of the design was not the fun part for me. I think I'm definitely, well, I know I'm going to try it again because I'm a tad obsessed with the idea, but I'm going to trim the tubes down. So instead of just trying to squeeze the paint out of this ridiculously like tiny spout, I'm gonna trim it. I'm gonna just cut some of that plastic off to give me a much juicier, fatter outline, and then I can just be a little bit more free and in less pain. In less pain. But yeah, this was it. This is what we were looking like at the end. We got there in the end. Like I said, I did speed it up for you guys because the process of actually filling these was intense. It took forever. The resin itself is actually the Just For You Online Apex. I completely forgot to mention that. The resin itself is the Apex, but because it was cold in my craft room overnight, I put it in a hot bath for like half an hour and forgot all about it. And then like literally within an hour of me starting this, it was starting to cure on me. So do be careful again when you heat your resin up because it can cure quicker than you want. But yes, the background, it had to be pink. I think of green leaves and pink when I think of tropical. This is the most tropical. This is the pink from Vista, and look at this. Oh my gosh, I had to slow this down for you guys because how beautiful is it when you put pink liquid, like pure opaque liquid, into resin? It creates that rose, that real rosy. Anyway, I wish it could just stay like that, you know. I wish we could do something like that and just have it stay like that. But yeah, I poured it in very, very slowly. I wanted the resin to work its own way around all of the leaves. Now, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I probably really didn't need to do this. I can't imagine huge chunky air bubbles being visible anyway because the background's just gonna be pink. So yeah, I thought it was worth it at the time. I'm just not sure it made much of a difference. But here you see the resin going real slow and working its way around each and every leaf. And then the coaster on the right hand side, I really didn't spend as much time. I was just sat there and thought, probably didn't even need to do that, to be honest. Yeah, anything to save time. If you know me, you know. Yeah, I mixed pretty much what I needed with a little bit left over, which was kind of annoying. It was enough to fill up a couple of little hearts on a separate silicone mold that I've got, but super cute. I absolutely love the colour scheme. And once I filled them up, it was just a case of waiting and anticipating and hoping that they turned out okay. I had an initial too much pour on the left hand side, so I did have to grab a spoon and quickly scoop some out before it was too late and it went up and over the outside of the silicone mould, but that's all good. I should have done the same to the one on the right hand side, but I didn't notice that it was creeping out, so we do have a bit of overspill. But this is 24 hours later and it was time to demold, and I'm doing that, you know, where you don't show the results in the beginning, so I'm gonna show you both together, see what you think, and dun dun dun, drum roll. Come on, Claire, sort it out. Yes, there you go. Woohoo! This is what they're looking like. My initial thoughts. Okay, let's talk about it. First up, I was like, ew, ew, not very, yeah, ew was my initial thought. The outlines are just too messy for me. I know it was my first attempt, and I promise you I'm not being hard on myself. I love the colours, the greens and the pinks and that kind of off blue green. The colours are right up my street. I couldn't have asked for the colours to come out better than they did. The yellow and the greens have blended real nice, and we've got this absolutely beautiful, almost shell type reflection on them. The one on the right is my favourite when it comes to style and pattern. They are giving me Roald Dahl vibes. Don't ask me why. The one on the left is literally giving me Roald Dahl. Is it Roald Dahl? Who is the who was the illustrator? Whoever the illustrator was for Roald Dahl. Let me Google it. You know what? I'm pretty sure it was Quentin Blake. I don't even need to Google it. I'm pretty sure it was Quentin Blake. But they are giving me Quentin Blake vibes. My second thought was, you know, they're not so bad, Claire. They're not so bad for your first attempt. Also, I then thought, do they look like I have used any PBO relief? No, they don't. To me, they just look like I have used a black pen or black acrylic paint, which I guess is what it is. And I've created an outline and then I've painted them in with acrylic paint in a way. So there was nothing screaming at me to say, wow, this was done with PBO relief paint. And I think that's where Leah Deer does things in an amazing way. She does like stained glass windows. So you've still got the texture, you've still got that 3D. You can still actually physically feel where that PBO is. Whereas it's kind of buried in these and you wouldn't, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? The sun is shining, so I'm distracted. Yeah, they just look like naive art. So naive art is a thing, it's a movement. They do remind me of naive art and Quentin Blake illustrations for some crazy reason. But having said that, I love them. I'm not obsessed. I'm not fully obsessed. I love them. I do not dislike them as much as I disliked them when I first demolded them and saw them. I appreciate the effort that I've put into these. Equally, I know I can do better. And I am 100% trying this technique again. Let me know what you think I should draw, if I should go random or if I should trace something. I'm thinking random. I just feel like in a random mood. Anyway, I'm really happy I finally got to actually do it. Thank you so much to Leah Deer for all of the inspiration. I don't think Leah Deer watches my channel, but I do follow her over on Instagram. We follow each other over on Instagram, and her work is just, elite. Again, I don't know if it was Leah Deer that very first came up with this idea, so just letting you know, I don't know if it was Leah Deer, but Leah Deer is the main inspiration behind this video, and I will see you all in the next one. I hope you feel inspired to have a play with this. I'll see you then. Bye.